Have you ever felt like all eyes are on you, judging your every move? Well, if so, you're not alone. In this video, we're going to be delving into the fascinating concept of the spotlight effect, a psychological concept that results in people being overly self-conscious and can prevent people from being their true selves and reaching their full potential. And so in this video, we're going to be looking at exactly what the spotlight effect is, why it occurs, how it affects us, and most importantly, how to break free from its grip. So firstly, what is the spotlight effect? Well, this concept came from a 1999 study conducted by psychologists Thomas Garland and Kenneth Savinsky, where they asked participants to walk around a college campus wearing an embarrassing t-shirt. And afterwards, they asked the participants to estimate the number of people that they thought noticed them in this t-shirt. And the results found that the participants constantly overestimated by far the number of people that noticed the shirt. And researchers found similar data in other studies that they conducted too. And they therefore concluded that people have a tendency to think that other people are noticing them far more than they actually are. And so in other words, it feels like we have this spotlight on us at all times, highlighting our flaws and mistakes for all the world to see. Now, you can probably think of a few examples where it felt like everyone was watching you. For example, you could be someone that thinks all their perceived mistakes and flaws are constantly being watched and noticed by everyone. I know that this is something that has personally affected me in a work setting. Say, for example, when I'm in a meeting and I might have to start speaking and I suddenly become super self-conscious with these thoughts and feelings and start thinking that everyone's going to negatively judge me if I don't have all of the answers to something, or if I mess up my words or say something stupid. Or you could be someone that worries about their appearance a lot and say, for example, have a big freaking spot on your head that you then think everyone is gonna notice and you worry about all day and think people are gonna judge you for being ugly. And there's a few different causes of the spotlight effect that we could point to. But in my opinion, the main reason comes from the fact that whilst we can guess what other people think, the only perspective that we can fully access is our own, which results in us placing far too much emphasis on our own perspective and leads to us being overly self-conscious and not being able to put ourselves in the shoes of other people to realize that their perspectives are very different to ours. And the spotlight effect, depending on its severity, can lead to various negative feelings. For instance, constantly worrying about oneself and people's perception of you can be really quite exhausting and draining and can lead to feelings of anxiety. It can also prevent you from being your true self, as you might try to change the way you act so that you behave in ways that you think others expect you to. Another thing that I've noticed personally is that when you're excessively thinking about your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, it can prevent you from being fully present and make it difficult to engage and connect in situations that you might be in. Now, dealing with the spotlight effect can be challenging, particularly if you are someone that is naturally more self-conscious or perhaps lacking a level of confidence in themselves. However, there definitely are things that you can do to loosen that sometimes suffocating effect that the spotlight effect can have on you. And there are three things I find particularly useful to do. Firstly, simply having awareness of the spotlight effect is perhaps the biggest thing you can do. And what you ultimately want to be doing is getting to a place where you realize that the spotlight effect is a thing, but that in reality, nobody is actually paying attention to you. And a thing I like to do to help with this is to play role reversal. And what I mean here is that when something happens that makes you feel like you're in the spotlight, try to think how you would respond if the same thing was happening to someone else. For example, if a co-worker was giving a presentation at work and they made a mistake, would you even bat an eyelid? Almost certainly not. And when you start to realize that other people feel the same way about your own actions, you'll then start to feel more at ease and less like you're standing in front of a spotlight. Secondly, the spotlight effect is all about going too inward with your thoughts and feelings. And so if you can flip that and try to focus more outwardly, it will help to take your mind off of all of those negative inward emotions. For instance, if you're presenting something, say, you could try to focus more on effectively communicating your content, say by focusing more on your pacing or your eye contact with the audience, instead of going too inward and being self-conscious, say, about the fact that you're speaking or worrying about whether what you're saying is good or not. And finally, try to challenge your beliefs. For instance, say if you're worried about your ability to deal with some situation that you're in, really try and think about whether that's true or not. Because in reality, you almost certainly won't be placed in a situation you don't deserve to be in. Or if you're super worried, say, about people judging you and your every mistake, try to reframe that to, firstly, as we said, realize that hardly anybody actually is judging you. And secondly, even if people were to judge you, who really cares? All you can do is your best in situations, and so you should just embrace yourself for who you are. And so there you have it, some information on what the spotlight effect is, and some tips and tricks on how to deal with it. I hope you found this video useful, and if you enjoyed it, please do check out my previous video here, and please do make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much.